Hi there, this is Tony from pianotone.ca, and in this video I'll be going over all of the differences between the new Roland GO Keys 5 and GO Keys 3 keyboards, just in case you're trying to decide which one of these to get. At the time of this video, the GO Keys 3 sells for about $350 and the GO Keys 5 sells for about $500. So hopefully this will help you decide if the GO Keys 5 is worth that extra $150. Now, I have already done an in-depth review on the GO Keys 5, which for almost all of the features also applies to the GO Keys 3. The voices, the styles, the key action, the chord sequencer, the scenes or registrations, all that stuff is identical between the 3 and the 5. So I should note right at the start of this video that I won't be redoing demos of the voices, styles, or any of the common features here. This video will only focus on what's different, including a more in-depth speaker demo, since that is one of the main differences between these two keyboards. If you are looking for voice and style demos, I'll put a link to my full review in the description below. And I do need to give Roland a huge shout out for lending me this GO Keys 3 so that I could do this comparison. So thanks a bunch, Roland. So let's check it out. Okay, so I've got my own graphite black, which I just call gray, GO Keys 5 on the top, and the turquoise, which I call green, GO Keys 3 keyboard on the bottom of my stand. That's the first and pretty minor difference between these keyboards is the color options. The GO Keys 5 is available in white or graphite black, and the GO Keys 3 is available in turquoise, red, or blue. So most of the differences between the GO Keys 3 and 5 are differences in ports and connectivity options. The GO Keys 5 has a 1/8 inch stereo auxiliary input for streaming external audio into the keyboard. The GO Keys 3 does not have that port. But since both the 5 and the 3 can stream audio in wirelessly with Bluetooth anyway, this isn't really much of an issue, and the Bluetooth audio on my GO Keys has been working really well. The GO Keys 5 has a 1/4 inch mic input with gain, effects, and a voice transformer, and harmonies actually. The GO Keys 3 has no mic input. The GO Keys 5 has 1/4 inch left and right line out ports for connecting to external audio equipment like amps, PAs, and mixers. The GO Keys 3 does not. So for connecting to external audio connections, you need to use the headphone port instead, most likely with a stereo splitter cable to split your headphone into left and right mono signals, which also means you really should have 2 ports available on whatever you're connecting to. If by chance you are connecting to something that has a stereo auxiliary input, some amps and PA speakers do have those, then you could use a stereo mini cable instead. So for filming this video, I have my Roland GO Keys 5 connected to my Yamaha mixer with left and right line outs, and I have the GO Keys 3 connected to another set of ports on my mixer using the headphone cable with that's being split into 2 left and right signals. The GO Keys 5 has 2 Type A USB ports. One of them is intended for saving and accessing data on a USB flash drive, and the other port, while it looks the same, is only for using the optional WC1 transmitter for accessing the Roland Cloud for extra sounds and styles. The GO Keys 3 only has one USB Type A port, so this port has to double as both your USB flash drive port and for using the WC1 transmitter. So you basically just can't have both connected at the same time with the GO Keys 3. The GO Keys 5 has 2 pedal ports, a control port and a hold port. The GO Keys 3 only has the hold port. The control port on the GO Keys 5 is used to control effects, and depending on the effect you want to control, you might want to connect a switch type pedal, which is basically a sustain pedal, a simple sustain pedal, where pressing it is basically a switch that turns something on or off. Or you may want to connect an expression pedal if you want to control an effect that has multiple levels. Okay, so we're looking at the GO Keys 5 here. You'll notice I've gotten an organ voice selected. And I'm just going to go into the settings menu here, and I'm going to go see what I have chosen as an effect. And I've got a rotary speaker chosen. So given that I have that chosen for my organ, ideally I would want to be able to control that rotary speaker speed with my control pedal. So I'm going to go to the common settings, and you're going to see you have a choice here on the GO Keys 5 for pedal. That's going to allow me to choose what I want to control with my extra pedal that's plugged into the control port. So I can choose all sorts of things, but because I'm configuring an organ and I've chosen a rotary speaker as my effect, then I'm going to want to choose rotary speaker speed here. And for this, I would just connect a basic switch pedal, like probably one of those, like the cheap plastic brick pedals are actually good for something like rotary speaker speed where you can just turn it on and off. But it's just basically a basic sustain pedal is going to work for this. So now, there's the organ. You can hear this, the rotary is slow. Now I'm going to press the pedal. And you can hear the rotary speed up. And if I press the pedal again, you can hear it slow down. Now instead, if I wanted to be able to control the volume with my pedal, then I could choose expression here instead. And then instead of that switch pedal, I would connect an actual expression pedal, because then I can use it like a volume swell pedal on an organ, and you can use it with any other voice as well. But a lot of organs have volume swell pedals, so then basically you can control the volume in increments as you move the pedal up and down. So let's check that out. So all I'm doing here, you can see I'm not touching the volume on the keyboard, I'm just using the pedal, the expression pedal, to move the volume gradually up and down. Now, on a side note, as an organ player myself, even though it's cool you can enable these two things for organ playing, you can't do both of these at the same time, which is a common need for organ players. So that's a bit of a letdown. I was hoping you'd be able to set the other port, the hold pedal port, to work as the switch to turn work the rotary speaker speed, and use the expression pedal for volume swells, but it's one or the other. Okay, so now we're looking at the same menu for an organ on the Go Keys 3. Now, if I go to Settings and then I go to Common Settings, you can see there is no pedal port choice here. And that's because you don't have a control pedal port, you only have the hold pedal port on the Go Keys 3. So you can only connect a switch or a sustain pedal, not an expression pedal. So the only thing you can do with this pedal is choose whether or not to apply sustain to your notes. So you'd likely do that on a piano voice, but not on an organ voice. You wouldn't be able to control your rotary speaker speed or do volume swells on the Go Keys 3. Okay, now for some differences that don't have anything to do with connectivity. For expansion with the Roland Cloud, the Go Keys 5 allows you to expand your keyboard with sound packs, style packs, and wave expansion packs. The Go Keys 3 allows expansion of sound and style packs only, so no wave expansion with the Go Keys 3. There are a couple of super subtle user interface differences as well. The Go Keys 3 has a dedicated button for turning the metronome on and off, and a dedicated button for pairing with Bluetooth, which is in the same position as on the Go Keys 5. There's buttons for controlling the microphone that the Go Keys 3 doesn't have. So the Bluetooth and metronome functionality that's on the Go Keys 3 is actually accessed on the Go Keys 5 by long pressing the tempo and menu buttons, respectively. Then we have the speaker differences. Roland is being all secretive about the wattage on these two keyboards. I'm not really sure why. It's not like anyone would expect super powerful speakers in portable keyboards this size. But there are some big differences between the speakers on these two models. One thing I have to say that I really like is the speakers on both are facing the player. I'm not a fan of downward or backward facing speakers. So according to the specs on Roland's website, the Go Keys 5 is equipped with two 5cm speakers with speaker boxes, as well as two passive radiators. A passive radiator speaker, which is something I'm just actually learning about myself the first time, is a speaker component that doesn't actually receive a signal. It just uses air pressure to create a woofer effect and enhance bass response in a speaker system. Passive radiators are also known as passives or drone cones. The Go Keys 3 is equipped with two 12 by 6cm speakers, so apparently no speaker boxes and no passive radiators on the Go Keys 3. Okay, so let's do a demo on the speakers on the 3 and the 5, and I'm just going to film this using the built-in mic on my iPhone. And I'll try to have it placed roughly equal distance from the two keyboards. I'll try to demo a few different common voices, and I'll throw in some styles as well. So let's check that out. So what did you think of the speakers? I think it's pretty apparent that the speakers on the Go Keys 5 have a lot more bass, low end, and warmth than the speakers on the Go Keys 3, even though the 5 speakers are actually smaller than the speakers on the 3. As expected, that warmth and extra low end is going to be coming from the speaker boxes and the passive radiator cones. Now, there has been some talk online about the Go Keys 5 speakers sometimes distorting or buzzing. To be honest, I watched a lot of those videos, and while I'm the first to admit I don't have the greatest ear out there, I didn't really hear much of an issue in any of the videos I watched. But when I did this demo, I did crank the speakers to try and see if this issue could be made to happen. And there might have been a couple of spots in there, especially with the backing bass in a couple of the styles, where I might have noticed a momentary buzz of some sort. But to be honest, these are small, super light and portable keyboards with small speakers and probably not a lot of wattage. So I do think we have to be realistic and temper our expectations a bit. The only portable keyboard I've ever tested that really has what I would actually call really good sounding and pretty powerful speakers that you might actually get away with performing without an external amplification in like a smaller like cafe or something would be the two 12-centimeter speakers that are on the Yamaha PSR EW425, which pump out an impressive 24 watts. These speakers really dwarf the speakers on pretty much all of the competition, especially Casio and Roland. So my verdict on the speakers on the Go Keys 3 and 5. Like almost any small portable keyboard, the speakers are fine for practice, but they're not going to be adequate for performing or jamming with a band. For that, you're going to need external amplification. In my opinion, the speakers on the 5 do sound far better with the extra bass and warmth. The speakers on the 3 do sound a little bit tinny. If there is any buzzing happening in some spots with the 5, it hasn't been noticeable enough to me to be worrying about it. And after all, that's where the term buzz from a sub actually comes from. I do intend on testing out my Go Keys 5 at some cafes this year with a small duo or trio, but we'll definitely be pairing it with my Bose S1 Pro battery-powered PA speaker. So that's all of the differences between the Go Keys 3 and the Go Keys 5. So which one of these should you buy? Well, that totally depends on your needs, so whether any of these differences matter to you or not. I do have a couple of recommendations, though. If you have any intention of performing with your keyboard, and that's now or down the road, and that includes just going to jam with some friends and like a fun band practice, the Go Keys 5 is definitely worth the extra money. It gives you the bigger speakers, a mic input with gain, effects, and even auto harmonies. as well as left and right line out ports, which is going to give you a much better connection with external audio equipment like amps, mixers, and PA systems. And even if you aren't a singer, having that mic input available allows you to play with a singer and let them use the mic port and take advantage of all of the mic effects and the auto harmonies. To be honest, unless your budget has you limited to the Go Keys 3, I really do think the Go Keys 5 offers tons of pretty significant additional features to more than justify the extra $150, even if you're going to grow into those features down the road. I guess if you have no intention of ever performing with your keyboard or ever jamming with others, and you have no interest in using the mic, then in that case, maybe you can save yourself the $150 and stick with the Go Keys 3. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope the content was useful. If so, please feel free to smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. That does really help me out. I've left links in the description below to my full review on the Go Keys, as well as some links to check out current prices in your area, and as always, some links to online piano training courses that have worked really well for me. So thanks again for stopping by. Happy keyboard shopping and happy keyboard playing. Have an awesome day.